Welcome to Beer in Front. Today I'm going to dive into the world of the Great American Beer Festival. Whether you're a seasoned craft beer enthusiast or you're just starting to explore the craft beer scene, this episode is your ticket to America's largest and most prestigious beer event. So grab your favorite pint glass and join us as we celebrate the flavors, the camaraderie, and the spirit that define the Great American Beer Festival. This is Beer in Front, part of the Beer Media Group. Every week I'll talk to people in and around the beer world and get their stories all about beer. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to episode 273 of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a charter member of the Beer Media Group. This weekend coming up is the Great American Beer Festival, held once again in Denver, Colorado. I'm going to talk to Leslie and Steve over at Bootstrap Brewing in Colorado. I want to hear their story, talk about their beers, their charitable efforts. So that was a good time talking to them, so stay tuned for that. I'll talk a little bit more about the Great American Beer Festival, all-time winners, things of that nature. Usually I try to have a beer from the brewery that I'm talking to, but this came together kind of at the last minute. Didn't get a chance to have like a friend of mine send me some stuff over. So I'm going to have a couple beers that have taken home some medals at the GABF. One, I'm going to do Expedition Stout from Bell's. That's taken home a plethora of awards. Then I'm going to do a Kolsch from right here in Chicago from Old Irving. So all of that's coming up and much more on this edition of Beer in Front. I got to tell you about my elbow. So last week, I'm off of work. They tell me, I got to go through occupational therapy, all this, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully that gets it right. I go to occupational therapy last week. The elbow's still killing me. And the therapist, who I like the occupational therapist, she's cool. She's like, there's just not a lot we could do with you. We're going to try to get you on some steroids and go from there. So she calls me like Thursday night. No, maybe it was Wednesday night. She's calling me and is like, we're canceling the rest of your appointments and we're going to get you fitted for a full arm cast. So you need to come in Monday. So I don't know, depending on when I put this out, it might even be that day. So Monday the 6th, I'm going to be in a full arm cast. Now I get a call from work. Well, we could bring you back to work for light duty. I'm like, I thought I already had my light duty assignment. They're like, no, we can get you back for more light duty. So why don't you come back to work on Tuesday? So on Tuesday the 7th, I'm going to be back to work, which is good. I'll be in a cast, but at least I'm productive and I'm not sitting on my rear end doing nothing. I'd much rather, even in a light duty capacity, I would much rather work than sit home and do nothing. So that's cool. I'll be back to work. Now I got to adjust like my podcast interview sessions because I thought I had at least the month of October off. So I was scheduling some stuff. So now we're going to have to dial this back a little bit, but at least I'll be back to work. The elbow still hurts like hell, but hopefully I'll be looking sharp in this nice cast. All right, welcome back. Bootstrap Brewing, located at 142 Pratt Street in Longmont, Colorado, is a family-owned independent brewery that was founded in 2012 and has been putting out some fantastic beer from the start. They've taken home 8 Great American Beer Festival medals, including 4 for their strong red ale, Wreak Havoc. They've supported countless nonprofits over the years, and when you pick up their Double Lush Puppy, 1% of the profits go towards helping dogs find their forever home. Joining me today from Bootstrap is Leslie and Steve Kazoos. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. We're excited to talk a little bit with you about our business, our brewery.
Now, normally, like, I'll start things off and I'll lob a softball question in there, like, how did you get started? But I want to hear more about the dogs. Why is this so important to you both?
Well, I'd say, Leslie loves animals, and we've got cats, we've got dogs, she's got a horse, and that's if you look at all our cans that we have released in our beers, there's animals across the board, and so like our Pickle Me Up has cats and lions, and Lush Puppy has dogs, and so it's a theme, and it's something we love, and you know what? 99% of our staff, they all have dogs.
Okay.
And so it's, we're dog friendly, we're animal friendly. It's just part of our DNA.
Awesome. And like the one thing that I was reading from your website, like this helps dogs, like rescue dogs or things like that, find their forever homes.
Yeah, so we work with different foster groups
Okay.
and Humane Society and Max Fund, No Kill Shelter. We've got a lot of friends that actually are foster homes through these organizations, and they all do such great work.
Yeah. I mean, my dog's a rescue dog. She was at one point astray in the streets of Alabama, and somehow she found her way here to Chicago with us. So no, I'm really like, that's so cool. Like it warms my heart. All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, how did you guys get started?
Well, Leslie and I, we started in the high tech industry, and I had been a home brewer for a long time. Leslie bought me a homebrew kit, and I had been home brewing, and it was a Christmas gift, and brewed some pretty good beer. And about 10, 15 years later, my company got bought out by another company. And that was kind of the catalyst that got us started and thinking about if we're going to work this hard for a corporation, why wouldn't we work this hard doing something that we love? And we realized that beer was our life. We were always, enjoying community and stuff like that at breweries. And so we thought, hey, would we ever consider starting our own brewery? And that started the journey. And we have a lot of support from well-established breweries around here in Colorado where we live. And people like the Odell's and Left Hand Brewing and Oscar Blues. And so they were very encouraging and said, once you start, first thing is make sure you make damn good beer. And it has to be quality beer because we've set the standard. And then if there's any help that you need, we're here.
Yeah, I mean the craft beer community doesn't matter where you're at. Always seems to be so welcoming, and they're not cutthroat like you would imagine in other industries. Like here
Got
in
it.
Chicago, talking to breweries, they all say the same thing. Everybody, kind of looks out for each other and wishes everyone the best.
For sure. And we're all so different. Some people are specializing in lagers, and even in lagers, they make very unique beers. We're a lot of IPA, and it doesn't matter if somebody else makes an IPA. We're all a little bit different, and so we're not really competing with each other. We're collaborating, and it's a wonderful community, especially after coming from the high tech industry where everything was NDAs and confidentiality agreements, and you might get a stab in the back every once in a while.
Looking at like the beer lineup, many appear to be gluten reduced. What was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, well, it's actually our clarifier, and it's an added benefit from just clarifying the beer. But here in Boulder County, it is important to our customer base. There's a lot of people that are gluten sensitive that can drink our beer with no problem. Definitely, if someone is celiac, then they don't drink beer at all,
Yeah.
unless it's not made with grain.
Yeah, no, or with barley.
Well, also looking like, reading your website, I love that you have music selections for like each beer that's on the site. And I also read you have like classic rock playing 24/7 when the beers are fermenting.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So Leslie's the one. She's the hard rock and roll fan, and she's the one who ties in music with the particular beer and the personality of the beer, and the music that we play in the production side. Yeah, we play it all the time, and our philosophy is that the yeast It's digging the sound and it's happy and it's gonna make happy beer. If you put, I don't know, some other kind of music, or you have an automotive dealer next door who's cranking engines all the time, that yeast is gonna be upset, and it's not gonna put out the best flavor for you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if you can see, I have a picture of Keith Richards behind me on my back
Yes, you
wall.
do. Yep.
So, but like, do you ever give somebody like Bob Seger a replica medal because his music was playing in the background? Like, they should get some credit too.
Oh, they should,
Yeah.
and they do. We
All
have
right.
a lot of fun with them for sure.
You ever let customers like create a playlist for like their favorite beer?
Well, we haven't done that, but that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Or maybe a podcaster. I don't know. Yeah.
We'll definitely invite you over to do a collaboration brew for sure.
And going over the website, I think, when did you open the tap room?
It was in 2012.
In 12? Okay.
Yeah, we started out in Niwot. It was a small pole barn building. It wasn't a typical industrial warehouse type building. And then in 2017, we moved into a bigger facility out in Longmont.
All right. So I think I was there. It would have been 2018. Because like looking at the logo, I'm like, this logo looks familiar. So I think I was out there in 2018. But since I'm not like hugely familiar, I contacted a friend of mine who's in Colorado. He hosts a show called Space Castle DT. I'm like,
Okay.
what can you tell me about, Bootstrap? And he was like, oh, I love that place. They put out great beer. And he also, the one thing he wanted me to know, he was like, the staff is phenomenal. They're really cool. They're like great people. That has to be gratifying for you, knowing that it's not only the beer that you guys are putting out, but you're also hiring great staff that's making everybody like have a good time when they come to Bootstrap.
Yeah, our staff is fantastic, and we've got a lot of longevity. We have an amazing team in front of house and back in production.
Yeah, the tap room is a lot of people talk about it being a Cheers environment where you walk in, they already know what beer you want. It's out on the table, and just hooting and hollering of what's going on. Your family, your dog. It's very community oriented, and that was done on purpose. We're actually inviting people into our living room, and they're hanging out with us. And our staff has picked up on that, and it's a natural for them. And not only that, but they're kind of a comedy act. They do goofy things behind the bar, get dressed up, and it's just a wonderful environment.
The tap room itself, you're like dog friendly, kid friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And we have a lot of music, a lot of bands. There's always something going on every night, whether it's trivia or karaoke or open mic. Leslie hired some awesome bands, and Friday, Saturday night, you get to come in and see some spectacular live music. And then on Sundays, if you're a ukulele jock, you can come in and we have uke jam. And it started out really small, like a couple, 3 people. And now we've got 70 to 80 people who come in with their little ukuleles, and we have a guy who leads the whole deal, and they'll play anything from Ring of Fire to Psycho Killer to Merry
Painted black.
Yeah. I don't know if Psycho Killer makes like the yeast happy, but yeah.
But the point is there's so much stuff and so much variety, and again, it's bringing in people in for community in a safe place and having beer and just having a great time. Life is tough enough, so
Yeah.
down and just have a great time.
Yeah, kick back, enjoy yourselves, forget about everything for a couple hours. Now, do you
100%.
have food trucks that are there on most nights? I was reading.
Yes, and we rotate different food trucks, so it's not always the same one. And we get calls all the time from folks asking if we have an opening and if they can come on over. And it's a variety. It can be Cajun, it's lobster to burgers and chips.
All right, sounds good. Well, Great American Beer Festival is coming out really soon. What do you have in store for the Great American Beer Festival in 2025?
Yeah, that's a good one. Over the years, we've changed how we approach GABF. From in early on in the beginning, it was just introducing ourselves, right? A new brewery and new beers. And this year, we're trying to stay relevant, reintroduce ourselves every year.
Yeah, we'll be in the backyard chill area in booth 9. We'll be pouring 5 of our beers. And that's a fun area that with the theme, people are playing cornhole and there'll be a band playing. So I like that area a lot. We also have sent beers for the awards ceremony, for the welcome reception. We'll have beers in the Makers Lounge. And we also started exporting a year and a half ago. So we're going to be meeting with some of our importer partners while we're there.
Yeah, yeah. And just networking is a big part of it too. We're going to see a lot of our brewery friends from all over the country and even local. And this is our opportunity to see how things are going, what's working, what's not, because the landscape has changed from, 10, 12 years ago, right? So it's a great opportunity and it's just loads of fun, right? I mean, it's beer and other stuff, but it's great.
Well, if you're going to be exporting, like maybe run a tap line like to Chicago, just saying. Yeah.
We're always looking for a beer ambassador in Chicago.
Yeah, there you go. I'm in. Sign me up for that.
There we go.
Well, in addition to the Great American Beer Festival medals that you've won countless others. Does winning so many like GABF awards and being so close to the festival itself, does that add any extra pressure, or you just take each year like, here we are, let's do it?
Oh, our team is always under pressure. Everybody, our brewers and our staff, they love competing and being at these types of festivals. And so winning gives us confirmation that we're still making great beer. We have a great product. People love us. And it just holds us to a higher standard. Now, we don't enter to have to win the medal, but we enter for fun. And when you sit inside the GABF or the Craft Brewers Conference auditorium, you're sitting with your Colorado friends, and Texas is over there and California is over there. And but we all root and cheer for each other. So by the time you get there and you sit down, you have butterflies. You're hoping you win, but pressure's off at that point because we have beer in hand.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you are so close to the festival, because with all that hardware, you'd be setting off the metal detectors at TSA, flying home with all that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. In addition to the animal charities, what other charities does Bootstrap support?
Oh, just a real wide range. We've worked with a lot of first responders, the Veterans Tiny Home Project.
Maui Strong, the Chico Fires. Every time something comes up and, there's kind of a call to arms across the brewing industry, and we all participate and we make specific beers, and the money goes to a charity, and those are awesome things. But locally, we definitely take care of
Wild Animal Sanctuary.
Yep.
There's a lot of social work programs like the In Between and the R Center that helps families and individuals that need resources.
And this was something we always talked about in the beginning, that when we were going to get in, not only were we going to make great beer and have a community place, but we wanted to do philanthropic stuff. We wanted to be able to give back. And this is a great opportunity. And when we get our customers involved, it just makes it just a huge event. And it's so satisfying for everybody across the board.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Like, what's next for Bootstrap? Do you have any new beers coming out, or what's down the road for Bootstrap in the brewery?
Yeah, we're constantly innovating, constantly coming up with something. This year it will be the Double Lush Puppy Juicy IPA, 9.2%. Yeah, it's a great beer, easy drinking.
It doesn't taste like 9.2%.
And that's, part of the campaign that we're going to do, the Save the Puppies and type thing. But it's that's a tough one because we're all trying to understand where is this market going and how do we stay relevant? How do we succeed in this market? And so like I said earlier, we're talking with folks and seeing what everybody's doing, how are they innovating, and but we continue to stay true to ourselves and experiment, make fun beers. Leslie's always the one who determines what gets released. Her philosophy is if you can drink 3 in a row, then you got it.
I'm so glad you guys took time out. I know you're busy. You got the festival that's coming out. But Leslie, Steve, thank you again. Once again, it's Bootstrap Brewing, 142 Pratt Street in Longmont, Colorado. Best of luck to you for the GABF this year. Hopefully you add a 9th and a 10th medal to the back wall there. So I'll
That's
be
what we're
watching the
hoping.
live stream and, keeping my fingers crossed for you both.
Yes. Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. And thanks for bringing us on board.
All right. Take
Thank
care.
you.
We'll see you down the road. If you'd like to support Beer in Front, you can head over to patreon.com/beerinfront for more information. If you have any ideas or show suggestions, please feel free to email me, dave@beerinfront.com. I'd love to hear about it. The Great American Beer Festival has been around since 1983 and is America's oldest and most prestigious beer festival, held in Denver, Colorado. The GABF, we're going to abbreviate this from here on out. The GABF is such a great time. I unfortunately have not made it out there yet, but that is on my bucket list. But talking to brewers, breweries, attendees that go, I've never heard a bad thing about the festival. So one of these years, I definitely need to make it out there. It's just supposed to be a phenomenal event. I know I've had my buddy DT on from Space Castle, and we've recapped past festivals, and just, it sounds like a great time. Looking at the pictures, just like everyone seems to be having a good time. Talking to breweries and brewers, they always rave about how much fun they have, and just, they love just talking to other breweries from around the country. So it just seems like a really cool time. And let's not forget the awards. I mean, the awards itself, that's something that you'll always be able to hang your head on. Saying that you're a GABF winner, that's a definite feather in anyone's cap. Now, if you go to their website, it'll list all the winners from every year, but they don't break it down. So I wanted to find out what brewery and what beer has taken home the most hardware. So you can't find it. So I had to go to ChatGPT. And according to them, Pizza Port has taken home 103 GABF medals. That's the most from any brewery that's out there. Everything I've had from Pizza Port has been phenomenal, so I don't doubt that. But over 100 medals, that's doing some good work. And from what I was digging up, the beer that has taken home the most medals has been Alaskan Smoked Porter, which is totally phenomenal. Definitely get on board with that and agree with that. This says it's won 21 medals over multiple years in categories. Some categories have been in the smoked beer and others have been in aged beer, but Alaskan Smoked Porter is definitely well worthy of getting 21 medals. Something new with the GABF, I believe it started last year, is the thing they have called Paired. Now, this is going to unite craft breweries with chefs from all around the country, and they're going to pair their beer and food. And you get 2-ounce pours, and I think this is like a small plate, so you could sample more than one. Now, there's 2 different sessions. You could get like a paired session or one with the GABF session, but that looks intriguing. There's too many to list, but there's a ton of great breweries and cider companies that are pairing their beers with these small plates from various chefs around the country. So that looks really cool. Something new for 2025 is they're going to have an area called the Distilling Experience. This you could get 1/4-ounce samples of various whiskeys, gins, vodkas, and more from spirit makers all over the country. So this looks really cool. So if you don't want beer, which I'm assuming you gotta want beer because you're at the Great American Beer Festival, but you could try something from distilleries from all around the country as well. The award ceremony is the main part of the Great American Beer Festival. You have hundreds of different categories, and you have some that have very few entries. Now, I don't know the full list for 2025, but going over last year's list, they had a category, an amber to dark non-alcoholic beer that only had 9 entries in there. You have some that are very small, like the American Sour Ale category, that only had 19 entries. And then you get into the behemoths like the hazy IPAs. That category, it's called Category 102. It's the juicy or hazy IPA. That last year had 349 entries. So whatever type of beer you like, or cider for that matter, you have all these great breweries and cideries across the country that send their wares over to be judged. And, I mentioned it on one of the intros, hanging that medal over your bar. That's always good. I mean, you go to a place and you see a GABF medal, all right, they're doing something right. So best of luck to all the breweries and cideries that are entering this year. I'll definitely be watching the live stream this weekend. All right, the next award-winning beer that I'm going to have here is from Bell's Brewery. This is their Expedition Stout. The Expedition Stout has taken home plenty of hardware over the years. This has taken home 5 different GABF medals. The first one was in 1995, and the most recent one was in 2016. Now, this isn't the regular Expedition Stout. This is the 40th anniversary of Bell's. This is their barrel-aged Expedition Stout. It's a Russian Imperial Stout, aged in bourbon barrels, 13.9%. I saw this, and actually the price was pretty reasonable. So I'm like, well, it's won some medals, and barrel aging anything's going to make it better. So happy 40th anniversary to Bell's. Let's bust open this Expedition Stout 40th anniversary. It's a bottle, so we don't get the can open sound on this one. That looks spectacular. Beautiful color here. The foam, nice and thick on this. Nice dark foam. Oh yeah, the aroma smells really good. You definitely get the barrel notes out of this. Smell is fantastic. That's good. That's really good. Like, I'm getting more up front of like the chocolate malt notes. So I'm getting that like a cocoa feel to it. The bourbon brings up the back. Man, this is just excellent. Like, the barrels are definitely there, but I get more of like the base Expedition Stout to this, which I'm a huge fan. I'm a big fan of Russian Imperial Stouts. I don't know how long they age this. I think if you're a barrel-aged fan, you might appreciate some others that, are more known for their barrel programs. but this in itself is fantastic. But if you're a big bourbon note fan, barrel aging fan, this one might not be for you because it's more subtle, but I really like the balance on this one between the malt notes and the barrels. I think this is really good. Yeah. I mean, the malt is what hits me up front. It's excellent. Like, I grabbed a 4-pack of this. It wasn't, I think it was $20 for a 4-pack I saw over at my Binny's. So this is really good, but this will definitely warm you up. If you see this in your travels from Bell's Brewery out in Michigan, this is their 40th anniversary Expedition Stout aged in bourbon barrels. You know what you got to do. You got to put this one in your cart. All right, the Great American Beer Festival winner that I'm going to have from the great state of Illinois is from Old Irving Brewing. This is their Della. This is a Kolsch that checks in at 5.2%. This took home the silver medal at the 2021 Great American Beer Festival. Della is just a great classic Kolsch. So let's crack it open here. Beautiful color on this, good foam. I mean, just outstanding color and foam on this. Pours perfectly. Yeah, great aroma. You get all the malt, you get the hops out of that. It's just a very clean smelling beer. It smells great. That's just perfect. That's like perfect shift beer. You could have this at the end of the day. Outstanding. Wonderful flavors here. Little bitterness towards the end, not a lot. No, this is just excellent. Kolsch is a nice German-style ale. It's really good. Like, if you're by Old Irving or if you pick it up where they distribute, I know I picked this one up at my bottle shop, but you could get this probably wherever you pick up your Old Irving beer. This is just a great beer. Della, it's a Kolsch once again. It's a GABF winner. If you see it, you know what to do. Put it in the cart. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. Once again, I want to thank Leslie and Steve from Bootstrap Brewing for coming on and talking about their location, their beer. So that was a lot of fun. If you're in the Denver area, please check out Bootstrap Brewing, and best of luck to you this weekend at the Great American Beer Festival. I'll talk to everyone next week. Have a great week, and remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet.